You were never supposed to feel this far away from yourself. Somewhere within you, there's always been a quiet knowing that something's missing. A subtle ache that whispers, there has to be more than this. Most can't describe where that longing comes from. It's the feeling of living inside a version of life that doesn't match what your soul once knew. And that is where the great forgetting begins. From the moment we take our first breath, the world teaches us to trust only what we can see and touch, to limit the infinite to what fits inside logic, routine, and survival. We shrink what's boundless into something measurable and efficient. But deep down, you already sense that truth is much larger and far more confronting than that. You were never meant to exist inside a container of flesh and labels. You came here to remember that the physical world is the last layer of reality, not the first. Real creation begins long before anything becomes visible. In the unseen field of energy where thought, emotion, and intention take form, most of us were trained to chase results we can count, to measure progress only by what's achieved or acquired. Yet that very chase disconnects us from the real engine of manifestation, our inner frequency. The life you're living right now isn't simply the sum of choices or circumstances. It's a mirror image, a holographic printout of your inner state of being. Your thoughts, emotions, and subconscious patterns send out a constant broadcast, and that broadcast shapes the matter around you. Not symbolically, literally. Quantum physics reveals that what we call matter is energy condensed by observation, by focused attention, by coherent vibration. Reality doesn't happen to you. Reality happens through you. It responds to the frequency you hold. So how do you break the spell of forgetting? How do you awaken from the illusion that you are just a body, a name, a person trying to make it? You begin by remembering where the real you exists. Not in the brain, not even in the mind, but in the field itself. The quantum field isn't poetry. It's a measurable matrix of potential that both surrounds and fills everything. Your consciousness isn't separate from it. You're woven directly into it. You are it. Every thought you have ripples through that field. Each emotion either delays or accelerates the reality you're calling in. And every time you forget this truth, you hand your creative power back to the illusion of limitation. People often say, I tried to manifest, but it didn't work. Almost always, it's because they tried to change the outer world without shifting the inner frequency of who they believe they are. You can't attract abundance while vibrating in scarcity. You can't invite love while quietly transmitting fear. You can't expand while identifying with the version of you that feels small. The secret isn't in working harder, it's in realigning deeper. Manifestation isn't born from desire alone, it's born from coherence. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. The shift from seeking to embodying is the bridge between dreaming and receiving. And if there feels like a gap between the life you have and the one you want, remember, the gap isn't punishment, it's a portal. That tension exists to awaken the part of you that's been asleep. Because you weren't meant to merely witness this field, you were meant to program it, to leave your energetic signature upon it with clarity and intention. That begins when you move beyond survival, beyond forcing, beyond trying to make it happen. You're being invited to remember your original power, the ability to collapse possibility into form, not by chasing, but by choosing. This path isn't about believing harder. It's about tuning clearer. Every transformation starts with identity. Ask yourself, who would I be if my dream life were already here? How would I think? Speak, move, breathe. That's where creation begins. Not when circumstances shift, but when your sense of self does. And when that happens, the field, the signs, the synchronicities, they all realign to meet you. Because they've been waiting for you to remember who you really are. The mind is not something trapped inside the skull. It extends far beyond, like a wireless signal reaching into the field of potential. Every thought you hold is a vibration you send into that field, and every feeling acts as a magnet, pulling similar frequencies back toward you. For most of our lives, we've been taught that the brain creates consciousness. But what if the truth is reversed? What if consciousness is the vast ocean, and the brain is just the receiver tuned to a small corner of its infinite broadcast? When you think, you tune. When you feel, you amplify. And when your thoughts and feelings move in harmony, you become a living transmitter of coherent energy, a signal the universe can clearly recognize and reflect. This is why meditation, Stillness and presence are not luxuries, they are recalibration tools, ways to retune the instrument of your awareness. Because when the mind is noisy, the signal is distorted. You can't receive guidance from the field if you're drowning in static. The goal isn't to silence your mind, it's to train it, to guide its focus like light through a lens until it becomes so steady that your energy starts bending reality around it. The greatest creators are not lucky, they are aligned. They have learned to quiet the chatter, to drop beneath the noise of the conscious mind and enter the calm, coherent rhythm beneath it. That rhythm is where intuition lives. It's where new ideas appear out of nowhere, where inspiration strikes without warning. You've felt it before. That sudden knowing, that gut feeling that made no logical sense but was undeniably real. That's your connection to the field, reminding you that life is not happening at you. It's responding with you. Each time you trust that inner nudge, you strengthen the bridge between thought and manifestation. Each time you doubt it, you strengthen the walls that keep you small. The process isn't about forcing faith, it's about remembering evidence. Think back. How many times did the impossible start working the moment you stopped trying to control it? How many times did things fall into place once you released resistance? The universe doesn't reward effort, it mirrors vibration. You can't force alignment any more than you can force still water to reflect clearly. You simply calm the surface, and clarity appears by itself. When you begin to master that inner state, you move from reacting to designing, from waiting to creating, from hoping to knowing. And that shift changes everything, because knowing is the frequency of having. Belief says, I hope this will happen. Knowing says, it already exists. I'm aligning to it. That's the true language of the field. And once you begin speaking it fluently, reality bends to match, so breathe. Slow down. Each inhale draws energy in. Each exhale shapes it. You are not separate from the field, you are its voice. And when your inner dialogue becomes clear, coherent, and calm, the outer world responds like an echo, finding its perfect match. The version of you that you dream of becoming already exists. It's not something you need to chase. It's a frequency waiting for you to tune into it. Every future you can imagine is real somewhere within the field of infinite potential. You don't need to create it from scratch. You need to match it. The mind loves to believe change takes time. But transformation doesn't require time, it requires alignment. The moment your thoughts, emotions, and actions synchronize with the energy of your desired reality, the universe has no choice but to rearrange itself around that signal. Think of it like tuning a radio. You can't hear the song on 101.5 while you're still tuned to 89.3. The signal was always there, you just weren't on the right frequency. Your dream life is the same. It's not missing. It's broadcasting right now, waiting for you to align your inner frequency to its channel. That's what living as your future self really means. It's not pretending. It's remembering. It's the daily practice of embodying the thoughts, emotions, and energy of the person you already are in that reality. When you do, the outer world must conform to match the vibration you're holding. But here's the part most people overlook. The bridge between the old self and the new one is emotional. You cannot step into a new identity while dragging the emotions of the past. Guilt, fear, self-doubt, unworthiness, these are low-frequency codes that keep you anchored in old timelines. To truly shift, you must feel what your future feels like before it arrives. Close your eyes and ask, how does my future self breathe? How do they move? What do they believe about themselves? What energy do they carry when they walk into a room? Hold that state until it becomes familiar, until it feels more real than the present moment. This is the art of emotional reprogramming. Because the subconscious doesn't respond to words, it responds to emotion. When you feel something deeply enough, your brain rewires itself to believe it's true. And once the brain accepts it, your body begins to follow. That's why gratitude is so powerful. It tricks the mind into believing the manifestation already happened, and in doing so, it signals the body to release the chemistry of completion. Every morning you have a choice: replay the old emotions of yesterday, or install the energy of the future you're calling in. The first keeps you in the loop of what was. The second launches you into what's next. This is why habits matter less than states of being. You can follow a perfect routine, say the right affirmations, visualize for hours. But if underneath all of that you still feel unworthy, you're sending a mixed signal into the field. Creation responds to your dominant vibration, not your spoken intentions. So stop trying to force change through action alone. Start becoming emotionally fluent in your desired reality. Oh, your thoughts are the blueprint. Your emotions are the builders. And your energy is the approval that allows the structure to rise. You don't need to wait for the future to show up to feel whole, abundant, or loved. You feel those things now, and the future rushes in to mirror that feeling. That is how timelines collapse. That is how identities are reborn. That is how you remember. The future is not coming, it's remembering you. There comes a point on every journey when you must release control, when your mind has done all it can, and the next step isn't something you can think your way into. This is the moment of surrender, and though it feels like letting go, it's actually the deepest act of trust you can make. The universe doesn't respond to force, it responds to flow. When you stop chasing outcomes, you become magnetic to them. When you release desperation, the energy around you relaxes, and what was once blocked begins to move freely toward you. Surrender is not giving up. It's giving over to a greater intelligence that knows how to weave timing, circumstance, and synchronicity together perfectly. It's the understanding that you are not here to control every detail. You're here to align with the current of life that already knows the way. When you detach from the how, you make space for miracles to arrive through the unexpected, because creation rarely unfolds in the way your mind predicts. It arrives through the cracks you never noticed, the coincidences you once called luck, the doors that appear only after you've stopped knocking on the old ones. This is why surrender is so misunderstood. It's not passive, it's powerful. It's not about doing nothing. It's about doing from a place of inner certainty rather than fear. It's walking with faith when logic says stop. It's saying, I trust that what is mine cannot miss me. When you surrender, you become available. When you resist, you constrict. And the energy that could be working for you begins working against you, simply because you keep trying to manage what only alignment can organize. Remember this, the field is always listening. When you try to control your broadcasting lack of trust, when you surrender, you're broadcasting confidence in your own divine timing. The frequency of trust carries more creative power than any plan you could ever make. That's when magic happens. Not because the universe suddenly decides you're worthy, but because you finally stopped resisting the worthiness that was always there. Every manifestation has two stages, creation and allowing. Most people master the first and forget the second. They visualize, affirm, and focus, but never let go. They keep checking if it's working, which is like planting a seed and digging it up every day to see if it's growing. The act of checking tells the universe you still doubt, and doubt keeps the signal weak. True manifestation is the art of expecting without needing, of believing without clinging, of knowing without proof. You don't need to see it to trust it. You trust it and then you see it. Let the outcome unfold on its own schedule. You don't control timing, you control tuning. Stay aligned, stay open, and watch how the unseen begins to organize itself around your faith. When you master surrender, life starts to feel lighter. You stop swimming upstream. You start floating with the current that was always designed to carry you. And that's when you realize you were never waiting for the universe to catch up. The universe was waiting for you to let go. Everything you've been searching for has been quietly waiting inside you. Every breakthrough, every moment of peace, every glimpse of the life you desire. None of it is outside your reach because it was never outside you. You came into this world as pure potential. Over time, you were taught to believe that power existed somewhere out there, in luck, in circumstances, in approval, in timing. But you're beginning to remember that the true source of creation flows from consciousness itself, your consciousness. Reality isn't happening to you, it's emerging through you. And every thought, emotion, and choice you make sends ripples across the field, shaping the invisible architecture of your future. When you understand that, you stop living as a reactor and start living as a creator. The mind, body, and energy field are not separate systems. They are one coherent organism of light, vibration, and will. When they operate in harmony, when your thoughts align with your emotions, and your emotions align with your actions, you enter a state of coherence. In coherence, there is no conflict between who you are and who you want to be. You stop searching and start radiating. You stop chasing and start attracting. You stop waiting and start becoming. This is the birth of a new reality, one where your inner frequency dictates your outer experience, one where you no longer need to beg the universe for signs because you realize you are the sign. Coherence isn't just a feeling, it's a state of mastery. It's when your heart and mind move as one rhythm, when your thoughts are clear, your emotions elevated, and your energy field expands so powerfully that it begins to influence everything it touches. You've felt glimpses of it before, those moments when everything aligns effortlessly, when synchronicities multiply, when time itself feels like it bends to your will. That's coherence. That's creation in motion. But here's the secret, it's not meant to be a rare experience. It's meant to be your natural state. You were designed to live from this frequency. You were made to walk through this world awake, not half asleep under the illusion of limitation. Every moment you return to awareness, you reclaim your power. Every time you choose presence over reaction, gratitude over fear, clarity over confusion, you shift timelines. You broadcast a new signal. You rewrite your destiny, because the future isn't something that happens to you. It's something that emerges through you. And once you start living from that knowing, you no longer chase possibilities, you magnetize them. So let this be your reminder. You are not behind. You are not late. You are exactly where you need to be for your next evolution to unfold. Life isn't testing you, it's preparing you. It's shaping you into the vessel that can hold everything you've asked for. Breathe in deeply. Feel the field respond. Everything you've ever imagined already exists, and it's waiting for your signal. You don't have to fight for it. You only have to remember who you are. The world around you will shift the moment you do, because when you awaken, the universe awakens with you. And that's when you realize you were never just a person trying to create a better life. You were consciousness, learning to become aware of its own power.